Alright, so I want to show you what I've been working on. But first, need a bit of history. How many of you know who this is? All of you that play EDH, play Commander, should know who this is. This is Sheldon Menery. He's the godfather of our format. Sadly enough, he died 2 years ago now. There was a secret lair in his honor that raised money for a cancer charity. That's what did him in, is cancer. So, Sheldon Menery, I believe he was the first level 5 judge. He started Commander as Elder Dragon Highlander when he was stationed in Alaska. I never found out if he was stationed at Elmendorf or Eielson Air Force Base, but he was, I believe he was enlisted. And he and some of his mates decided to build a new format, Elder Dragon Highlander. And the thing is, it was quite similar to Commander. It was the genesis of it. And each of them had to choose a Elder Dragon from Legends as their commander. The rules were a bit different. I haven't really investigated how it was in the early days. But in his honor, to pay tribute to him, even though I never knew him personally, but he's had a huge impact on my life in a roundabout way because I love this format. It's what me and my friends play the most of. And I decided to build his deck. So this is Sheldon's Ruhan of the Fomori deck. Or, as he would call it, you did this to yourself. So let's take a look at what he had. So, Commander was Ruhan of the Fomori, 1 blue, red, white. Beginning of combat, in each turn, choose an opponent at random, and he attacks a player if able. So, 4 mana for a 7/7, there's got to be something to it. I mean, these days, there'd probably be some kind of bonus. You know, fucking power creep. Anyway, that's the commander he chose. He has Tomio the Moon Sage in here. 3 blue, +1, tap target permanent. Does not attack during its color's next untap step. -2, draw a card for each tap creature target player controls. -8. So, in 4 turns, she starts a loyalty 4. In 4 turns, well, 5, because you have to tick her up 4 times. And then on the following turn, you can give the -8. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size, and whenever a card is put in your graveyard from anywhere, you can bounce it back to your hand. I'm not sure how often he would have hit that ultimate, but what I've started doing is studying this deck list. So he has some very interesting choices here. And again, it's all about, it's not really stacks, but it's definitely not aggro either. It's sort of reactive control. And it's kind of wild. One of the other reasons I want to build it is because I wouldn't have thought of this myself. No. So he's got an Aura Thief in here. 3 and a blue for a 2/2 illusion. It flies. When it goes to graveyard for play, you gain control of all enchantments. You don't get to move enchantments enchanting something, but they're yours now. So if a creature has, say, I don't know, something that gives it lifelink, then you're the controller of that enchantment. No, because that would give the creature lifelink control of the creature. I'm trying to think of a good example. So, I'm trying to think of a good example of a local enchantment. I can't, nothing's coming to mind. Anyway, moving right along. Boros Reckoner, triple red, triple white hybrid. Whenever it's dealt damage, deals that much damage to a creature or player. And from 1 in a red, you give first strike. Otherwise, it's 3/3 Minotaur Wizard. Chrome Shell Crab, 4 in a blue. But it's got morph, so you can play it face down as a 3/3. Play it face down 4/3 as a 2/2 creature. And then for 4 in a blue, basically its casting cost, you can flip it over and exchange control of the crab for control of target creature and opponent controls. So you can't take control of a creature you control because you already control it. Why would you do that? But they made sure you couldn't. Clone, pretty basic. 3 in a blue comes to play as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. Gilded Drake, 1 and a blue for a 3/3 flyer, but you don't get to keep it. Once it comes into play, you trade it for a creature one of your opponents controls. So they get a 3/3 flyer, and you get something else. Maybe Sheldon, Whispering One. Maybe Elish Norn. Maybe just a Beast Whisperer because he wants to draw cards for playing creatures. Funny story about Gilded Drake is I've got a friend who he got into a Commander game with some people at some event. And immediately after the Commander game, everybody just kind of broke away. They just packed their stuff and left. I forget. Actually, I don't even know if he told me why it happened, what the trigger to that event was. But he gets home, and he's going through his deck. I forget which deck it was. And he realizes I traded somebody who killed Drake permanently. Because he had no way of finding out who it was at the event. It was just some random pickup game. This is back when Gilded Drake was not worth as much. And I forget what he lost. But at the time, I think he lost value. But now, he still has it. Now he won. Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, 4 red double white for a 5/5 flying for Striking Angel. She doubles all damage your stuff would deal. She cuts in half all damage you and your stuff would take. Goblin Flectomancer. This is a weird guy. I don't think I ever would have wanted one of these if I wasn't building this deck. Blue, red, red for a Goblin Wizard. Sacrifice Goblin Flectomancer. You can change the targets of target instant or sorcery spell targets. So, for example, I can't remember the name of it. There's this card Cube plays. It costs 4 black-green, and you choose to destroy an artifact, an enchantment, a creature, a land, in any combination of those 4, I think. In most of these spells, you can only change the target of a spell with a single target. But this guy, he can change all the targets. Viashino Heretic, 2 in a red for 1/3 Viashino. He's probably a wizard or something now, or artificer. After this set came out a few years later, Wizards did a great creature type update. There were a lot of creatures like this that only had Viashino, human, knight. They got something else too. Human knight, human wizard, and so on. But what does this guy do? So 1 in a red, tap, blow up an artifact, and he deals damage equal to the artifact's casting cost to its controller. So, excuse me, if you hit something like, oh, I don't know, the Immortal Sun, whoever had the Immortal Sun in play, they're taking 6 damage. And he doesn't sacrifice himself for anything. You can just, every turn, you can blow up an artifact and right in somebody's face. Your Vanquisher's Banner blows up in your face. Take 5. Sun Titan. Oh, I love Sun Titan. He's one of my favorite cards. 4. He's one of those cards that you don't have to convince me to play. I try to figure out how to put them into every white deck I have. A few of them don't have one because, like Ikkrashitiki Shidarkondo, his power and toughness are square. And Ikkrashitiki Shidarkondo, their stick is every creature but 2 has a higher toughness than power. All but 2. I don't count Daxos, he would be number 3, but within a few turns of playing Daxos, his toughness is going to be higher than his power because it's your devotion to white. He had a Solemn Simulacrum, 4 colorless for 2/2 Golem. Comes into play, go find a basic land, put it in play tapped. When it dies, you get to draw a card. Phyrexian Metamorph, it's a clone. It's a clone that can copy artifacts as well as creatures. And instead of that 1 blue, you can pay 2 life. So 3 and 2 life, you can copy any artifact or creature on the field. New Prov Guildmage. Now, this is an older deck. So some of the card choices he has have probably been superseded by power creep. There are a few of these cards that there are better things now, but I want to build it the way he had it. I want to remain true to his vision and experience it. I want to see how this deck plays. I want to understand his choices. I want to follow his potential lines of play. What I need to do is find some videos where, if possible at all, where he was playing it, so I could see how he played it. Because I want to understand if he used some things reactively, offensively, defensively, so I've got a better feel for what the deck is supposed to be doing. The thing is, whenever you hand somebody, and I've seen this a lot of times, especially with Yishi, when he comes and joins us, if I hand him a deck, he'll play it in a way completely unlike I play it. For example, he had Nekazar, I loaned it to him, and he played it more as an aggressive control deck. And he was doing things and not really getting anywhere because he didn't build the deck and he didn't know what it was really supposed to do. He caught on quick after I explained it, but he still didn't play it the way I would, which is kind of nice, which is interesting. So anyway, this new Prof Guildmage, so Sheldon had this in here, blue-white, 2/2 human wizard, spend blue-white, target creature gains flying until end of turn, spend blue-white and 3, spend 5, detain target non-land permanent opponent controls. Until your next turn, it can't do shit. And there's no mana restrictions, just any permanent that they control, you just lock it down. He had a Molten Primordial, 5 double red for a 6/4 hasty avatar. When it comes into play, for every opponent, gain control of one of their creatures until end of turn, untap them, and they gain haste until end of turn. So, if I was going to play Molten Primordial, I would want more sacrifice effects. I would want a way of taking those creatures and then getting rid of them before the end of my turn, or at the end of my turn, so I don't have to deal with them anymore. Because if I'm snatching 3 creatures, I'm probably snatching 3 of the best things that are going to start screwing with me if they don't leave the field. Mischievous Quinar, 4 and a blue, but you would play him face down for 3 as a 2/2 morph creature. So, 1 and double blue, morph him. When he turns face up, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then for 3 double blue, you can put him face down again. So as long as you have the mana, you can keep flipping him up and down and copying instants and sorceries. Willbender, another morph creature. So this guy face down for 3 as a 2/2 nothing. Flip him over, 1 in blue. And change target of target spell or ability with a single target. But you can't play, he doesn't have a self flip back down clause, so it's like one shot and you're done. But he can only change a single target ability, which can still be key, but it's not quite as interesting as this guy, which I'm trying to think if there's any other decks I would want to put one in. Okay, for sorcerers, he has Sleep, 2 blue-blue, tap all creatures target player controls. They do not untap during the player's next untap step. Knowledge Exploitation, 5 blue-blue. Search target opponent's library for an instant or sorcery. You can play it for free, and then they shuffle. Now, it has a prow cost. So if you did damage to somebody with a rogue, instead of paying 5 double blue, you can pay 3 and 1 blue, which is a lot more reasonable in my opinion. But you have to hit somebody with a rogue. There are no rogues up here. None. He could copy a rogue if there's one in the field. He could too. But you're probably not going to get the knowledge exploitation off for the prow cost in this deck. So he was spending 7. Final Judgment, 4 white, exile all creatures. I don't like it. I don't like to exile my creatures. I would rather destroy them. I would rather play... oh, what the hell is it? 4 double white. Choose 2. Destroy a creature's power 4 or greater. Destroy a creature's power 3 or less. Destroy all artifacts. Destroy all enchantments. What the hell is it called? Anyway, I would rather play that than this. But to keep with the spirit of the deck, I'll have to get one, and maybe I'll like it. Now, obviously, Farewell has superseded this. Farewell is strictly better, because you can exile all creatures, all enchantments, all artifacts, and I think all planeswalkers. And you can choose one or more. This only exiles creatures. So, the other thing I'm thinking of, excuse me, when he had this deck, would he have put Farewell in instead of Final Judgment? Would he have made that upgrade? I don't know, and he's not around anymore to tell us. He's not around anymore to improve the deck, to tinker with the deck, unfortunately. Chain Reaction, 2 red. Deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. The more the merrier. Bribery, 3 blue. Pick up one of your opponent's libraries, look through it, choose a creature, put it in play under your control. Then they shuffle. So, this could get something really interesting. 5 double blue, you can search a library. Maybe they have Sheldon, maybe they have Elish Norn, maybe they have Beldur's Witherboom. I'd pay 5 mana to get Beldur's Witherboom out in play, wouldn't you? Blasphemous Act. It says it costs 9. It doesn't cost 9. As long as there's 1 creature on the battlefield. Even if there's just 1 creature. It costs 8. Because it's reduced by 1 for every creature on the battlefield. Now, if you're casting this, and there's only 1 creature on the battlefield, something has really gone wrong in the rest of the game, and there's a dire threat, you've got to get rid of it. I can't think of too many instances where that would happen, but I'm sure there have been. That creature right there, the only one on the battlefield, fuck that creature. I'm going to pay 8 mana to get rid of it. Acidic Soil, 2 and a red, deals 1 damage to each player for each land he or she controls. So this punishes ramp players. Punishes them hard. Yeah, it hits everybody else too. But after all, like Sheldon Menery said, you did this to yourself. You play a bunch of lands, you're going to get burned. Aurelius Fury. Now on to the instance. Red, white, X. Aurelius Fury does X damage divided any way you feel like among any number of target creatures and their players. Tap each player dealt damage this way. Creatures dealt damage this way cannot cast non-creature spells this turn. Incredibly versatile. Blue Sun Zenith. This, so 3 blue just to get it started. 3 blue specifically just to get it kicked off. And then X. Target player draws X cards. But you shuffle it back in your library, so inshallah you can draw it again and do it again. If I were building this, I would put in Sphinx's Revelation. But Sphinx's Revelation, it gives you cards and life, but it's 1 shot. It doesn't get shuffled back in the library. So I am going to get one of these and experiment with it. Boral's Fury Shield, 2 and a white. Instantly prevent all combat damage dealt by target attacking or blocking creature, or blocking, this turn. If red was spent to play Boral's Fury Shield, it deals damage to the creature's controller equal to the creature's power. So, if you're being attacked by something big, you can spend 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 white, negate the damage, and then the creature punches its controller in the face. And there's a lot of effects like this. That's kind of the, you did it to yourself. You attack me? Okay. Bring it on. Cerebral Vortex. 1 blue-red, target player draws 2 cards. Then Cerebral Vortex deals damage to the player equal to the number of cards they draw on this turn. I should probably put one of these in Nekazar. Dawn Charm, 1 and a white. Oh, and as far as the sets go, so what you're looking at, this is not my Moxfield. This is on King Krups. So King Krups is the one who posted this. He deserves all the credit for putting this up for us. And because I cannot modify the collection part of Moxfield on his behalf, so I'm pretty sure Sheldon would have had the original Dawn Charm. Pretty much think he would have had the oldest versions possible of all these cards. I just wanted to get that out there. So Dawn Charm, 1 and a white. Choose 1. Fog, regenerate target creature, or a counter spell that targets you. Options, baby, options. Desertion. I used to love this card. I used to play it a lot, but holding up 5 mana these days, it's kind of expensive. But that's the way this deck works, is it needs to hold up mana to cast some of these more aggressive instants. So Desertion, counter spell. If an artifact or creature spell is countered this way, put it on the battlefield under your control. Sweet. You don't get it. I do. You did it to yourself. Essence Backlash. 2 blue-red. Counter target creature spell. Essence Backlash deals damage to that spell's... Hang on, let me get a sip of tea. Okay, now maybe I can talk. So, counter target creature spell. Essence Backlash deals damage equal to that spell's power to its controller, equal to the creature's power. So, most of these look at the CMC of the spell. This one looks at the power of the creature being countered. So you kind of want to wait until they're casting something big, like Critterhoof Behemoth, some massive Hydra. Oh, this would be really bad against Cube, against his Tyrannus deck, because after turn 6 or so, he starts casting 10 power creatures. I'm going to counter that creature, and you're going to take 10 damage. Bang! Right in the face. Radiate. 3 red, instantly choose target instant or sorcery spell that targets only single permanent or player. For each of the permanent or player that spell could target, put a copy of the spell onto the stack. Each copy targets different one of those permanents. So, just the first example comes to mind. Somebody casts Swords to Plowshares when you creatures. And you can say, out of pure spite, or, okay, really? Okay, screw you. I'm going to radiate the swords onto every creature in play. They all get exiled. Everybody gets a lot of life. Paraelectric feedback. Paraelectric feedback. Not electric, paraelectric. Okay. 3 and a red. Deals damage to target spell's controller equal to that spell's CMC. So it's kind of like Essence Backlash, in a way. So this counters the spell, a creature spell, and they take damage equal to its power. This just deals damage to target spell's controller equal to the spell's CMC. So it doesn't counter it. They still get the spell, they just get hurt for it. But they ask for it. Mirror Strike. 3 and a white. Target unblocked creature deals combat damage to its controller instead of to you this turn. So you just let something big through, Mirror Strike it, and it turns around and punches its owner in the face. Bang. Honorable Passage. So 1 and a white. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to target creature or player this turn, prevent it. If damage from a red source is prevented this way, it deals damage equal to the damage prevented this way to the source's controller. So obviously, this is better if your opponents are playing some kind of deck with a red in it. But in any case, it's still a fog against a particular source of damage. Now, if somebody played Blasphemous Act, and you did this, and there were 10 creatures, they're going to take 130 points. They are going to die. In all but the very edgiest of edge cases, they will be dead. For 2 mana. Hibernation. Bounce all green permanents back to the owner's hand for 2 and a blue. I played this a lot in... I've got 3 different decks running this. It's really good against Green Stompy. Oh, it's hilarious. Okay, Critter Hoof Behemoth. I attack my giant army. Okay, I don't want to deal with that now, so bounce all the green shit back to your hand. Okay. So, are you done with your turn? Excuse me. Harsh Justice. So this is a portal card. It says sorcery, but it's actually an instant. Portal, they try to keep everything very simple. They did not have instants. They only had sorceries, but they specified on the card that you would play it as an instant on your opponent's turn. So this one is 2 and a white. Play Harsh Justice only after you're attacked, before you declare blockers. They called them interceptors in Portal to make it more apparent. This turn, each attacking creature that damages you also deals equal damage to the attacking player. So, somebody's attacking you, let some things through, and then let them take equal damage for the insult. Gather Specimens. This is an expensive one to hold a mana for. 3 triple blue. Yeah, 6 mana for an instant, but if a creature comes to play under opponent's control this turn, it comes to play under your control instead. So, if somebody is resolving Defense of the Heart, or they're creating a shitload of tokens, hey, you get them instead. Hey, you're gathering specimens. Reflect damage. 3 red white. Redirect all damage dealt by any one source to that source's controller. Pretty simple. Reiterate. 1 double red. Buy back 3. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So, for 6 mana, again, a lot of mana to hold up. It's fork with buyback. Pretty interesting. I've tried to play this before, but I found the way I play and the games that I find myself in, I don't hold up 6 mana. I use this like a fork. So I started just running, not fork, but twin cast and the red twin cast, the new fork, which again I forget the name of. Restore the Peace. 1 blue white. Return each creature that dealt damage this turn to its owner's hand. So again, if a bunch of things get through, and they don't have to hit you. That's the thing. If a bunch of creatures, your opponent, one of them, sent his army against somebody else, it doesn't matter if those creatures were blocked or not. Any of them that dealt any damage during that attack step, you could bounce back to the controller's hand. I should get more of these. Ooh, I should put one of these in Brago, actually. This is the other reason I wanted to really explore this deck and get some ideas, because there are cards that I never really thought of, kind of dismissed, but now seeing them holistically in the Sheldon Menery build, I'm really seeing the appeal of some of these. So, if you think you're going to get attacked next by that army, then bounce it back to its owner's hand. Reverse damage. So 1 white. All damage dealt to you so far this turn from one source is retroactively added to your life total instead of subtracted. Treat further damage from the source normally. So, if somebody hits you with a big creature, you take 7, bang, you reverse the damage, you gain 7 life instead of taking 7 damage. For example, turn the tables. I wonder if he used this on So, let's follow the chain real quick. Let's take a detour, side quest. If I'm playing this deck and I Blasphemous Act for 1 red, let's say there's 10 creatures. They take 13 points, 130 points of damage collectively. If I cast Honorable Passage and prevent that damage, it would deal damage to me, but then I can reverse damage and I would gain 130 life. The problem is, it says all damage dealt to you so far this turn is retroactively added to your life total instead of subtracted. I wonder if the new wording says you prevent it preemptively. Because if even the new wording, and this has been reprinted in 8th edition, if the new wording says you still have to take the damage first, then that's not a good idea. Okay, I took 130 points damage, I'm dead. But if you do it preemptively, wow, interesting. Turn the tables. 3 white. All combat damage to be dealt to you this turn is dealt to target attacking creature instead. So you're getting attacked by an army of 7/7 Tyranids. And you say the entire army turns and looks at your commander, and they all beat the living shit out of her, out of your Tyranid wizard human that is making them bigger when you cast an X spell. She gets just clobbered for 29,000 points of damage. Interesting. Still, that's a lot of mana to hold up. Alright, moving right along. Helm of Obedience. So this is one of the more expensive cards in the deck. There's one really expensive card in the deck, and this is one of the changes I am going to make because I don't want to buy it. I own a copy, but it's already in another deck, and I don't want to take it out. Helm of Obedience. 4 casting cost artifact. X, tap. Put the top card of target opponent's library into his or her graveyard. Keep doing it until you put X cards or creature card into the graveyard, whichever happens first. If the last card put in the graveyard is a creature card, bury Helm of Obedience and put the creature into play under your control as though it were just cast. X can't be 0. So, let's say you spend 5. Tap it. Your opponent mills 5 cards, or he starts milling until he hits a creature, or until you've milled 5 cards. And in any case, anytime during that, if you find a creature, it's going to replace Helm of Obedience. You gain control of that creature. It's a fair trade. Go to Lotus. 5, tap, add 3 mana of any one color. Fillwar Stone. So Sheldon does not have an Arcane Signet in this deck. And I'm thinking that's because, again, this is an older deck. If you look at these cards, nothing is newer than, say, 4 or 5 years ago, right? Because Arcane Signet is objectively better than Fillwar Stone because it's more reliable, but Fillwar Stone is more in tune with his "you did this to yourself" motif, because you add 1 mana of any color than a land an opponent controls could produce. They're helping you. They're giving you the color. So on the one hand, when I build it, I want to replace this with an Arcane Signet. On the other hand, for a truer tribute, I should leave the Fillwar Stone in there. I have to think about that. In the same vein, we have Darksteel Signet. Darksteel Signet costs 3. It's indestructible. Tap for 1 mana of any color. Skyclave Relic is basically the same thing. Skyclave Relic costs 3. It's indestructible. Taps 1 mana of any color. But if you spend 3 more, a kicker, when you cast it, you get 2 copies of it. So for 3, Skyclave Relic is a Darksteel. It's the same damn card. For 6, you get 3 Darksteel ingots. And I'm thinking, I will make that change because it's just I don't think it breaks the spirit of the deck. I think it fits perfectly. And I would like to say that anybody who was running this deck, if they saw Skyclave Relic and they acquired one, they would make that change right away. They would just, Darksteel Ingot goes out, Relic goes in. Bang, done. Excuse me. Then the other mana rocks he had, so he's got Boros Signet, an Arcane Signet, Azorius Signet. He's got Boros and Azorius. But he doesn't have the Izzet Signet, and I don't know why. I don't know if the white was more important than the red-blue, or if he just needed to cut something, and so he chose to break the cycle. I don't know why he doesn't have an Izzet Signet in here. It seems to me, again, I like cycles. So if I have Signets in the deck, I would have all 3. Angel's Trump, fortunately I sold mine. I had it in the deck, and it wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do, so I sold it. And now, now I need to get another copy. If you hear some crying in the background, that's my daughter is having some kind of spat with her mother. I don't know what's going on. I'm doing my best to ignore it. It's between them. So Angel's Trumpet costs 3. All creatures gain vigilance. At the beginning of each player's turn, tap all untap creatures he or she controls that did not attack. An Angel's Trumpet deals 1 damage to that player for each creature tapped this way. So I put this in a deck that was all about attacking. And I actually had it in Aurelia. And the other thing I wanted it to do is to force my opponents to attack with creatures they wouldn't want to otherwise attack with. Right? They're utility creatures. I wanted them to attack with them so I could block them and kill them. What actually happened is they just looked at it and they thought, oh, okay, so if I don't attack with this guy, I only take 1 point of damage? Pfft, okay, I'm not attacking with my Noble Hierarch. I'll take 1 point of damage for it. Alright. So, I wonder, there's also a card, a red card, creatures have to attack each combat of Fable. So this is, they should, but they don't have to. And then there's this red card, they fucking better attack. Then he's got a Mimic Vat. So Mimic Vat, 3 colorless to cast it. And whenever non-token creature dies, you can exile it. If you do, return. So let's start with the bottom. Well, no, let's start at the top. Whenever non-token creature dies, you can exile that card under Mimic Vat. If you do, return each other card exiled with Mimic Vat to its owner's graveyard. So this is strange wording. Whenever a non-token creature dies, you may exile that card. If you do, return each other card exiled with Mimic Vat to its owner's graveyard. I don't see how you would have more than 1 card under it, because it specifies exile that card. So even if there's a Wrath of God, wipe all the creatures, you still have to choose that card, one of the creatures. So if somebody can tell me how the hell you get more cards under this, let me know, because I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing something. 3, tap, create a token that's a copy of the card exiled to Mimic Vat. And again, it says a card. It doesn't say the card. So obviously there must be some way of getting more cards under the Mimic Vat. I don't know. Maybe if you Wrath of God, you can take all the creatures. That's the comments are for. Hit me up. The token gains haste and exile at the beginning of the next end step. So you create an instant blocker, instant attacker, insta, whatever you need. Mind Stone. Yeah, he's got a Mind Stone here. So 2, tap, add colors to mana pool. 1 tap, sacrifice a draw card. If I were to build this, and again, I'm going to use Mind Stone because that's what he had. This would be as a signet in my build, but it's not my build. I'm going to copy this as true to him as possible. So, and I haven't used Mind Stone in a long time because I found it not as useful as an arcane signet, but maybe it is good here. Then of course he's got a soul ring. I don't think I need to talk about that at all. He also has a Sun Forger. 3 to turn to play. Equipped creature gets +4/+0. Equip 3. So if you give this to Ruhan, he becomes an 11/7. That has to punch somebody every turn. Red-white, unattached Sun Forger. Search a library for red or white instant card with CMC 4 or less, and cast at the Pingus mana cost, and shuffle. So this is how he gets around some of these, a few of these higher casting costs. So sleep, chain reaction, acidic soil. You can play with the Sun Forger. Act, bribery, final judgment, no. Out of the instance, radiate, no. Desertion, no. Turn the tables, no. So about a third of them, you can't play the Sun Forger. But the other ones, I mean, for red-white, you unattach it. Oh, only instant. Okay, only instant. I haven't played a Sun Forger in a long time. Okay, so only an instant, red or white instant. So you can Essence Backlash, which has been red-white, and instantly cast, go find it in your library and then cast. Yeah, that could be good. Enchantments. Some of these are pretty spicy. Okay, he's got a Heuristic Study. 2 and a blue. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you say, trigger. Do you pay the 1? And if they don't, you draw a card. If they do, you say, oh. But you tax them, so it slows them down. So after you go, you smile. And if you don't, you're an asshole. Repercussion. 1 red. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller. Yes, with Blasphemous Act and Chain Reaction in the deck. Power Stone Minefield. 2 red-white. Whenever a creature attacks or blocks, Power Stone Minefield deals 2 damage to it. So if you've got Mind Stone, Minefield, and Repercussion, people are going to have to think carefully about their attacking. And then Angel's Trumpet. Okay, now I see it. So you've got Angel's Trumpet in play, Repercussion, and Power Stone Minefield. No matter what, if they attack or block, or don't attack, they're taking damage. No matter what, they're taking damage. And then there's Aether Flash. Whenever a creature comes into play, Aether Flash deals 2 damage to it. Which is why I'm thinking of making one of the modifications, small modifications to the deck. So if you've got Aether Flash and Repercussion, whenever anybody casts a creature, they take 2 damage for the pleasure. Blind Obedience. 1 red. Artifacts and creatures your opponent's control come into play tapped, and it's got Extort. So whenever you cast a spell, you may pay white. You can't play black because there's no black in the deck. Each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain that much life. Copy enchantment. 2 and a blue. Copy enchantment comes to play. You copy an enchantment. Pretty simple. Karmic Justice. 2 and a white. Whenever a spell or ability an opponent controls blows up a non-creature permanent of yours, you can destroy a permanent they control. So, the one you destroy, it doesn't say non-creature. So if they blow up Usually it's Karmic Justice. Usually you play Karmic Justice and somebody disenchants it. They naturalize it. They don't like it. You can kill one of their creatures. You know, you did this to yourself. You destroyed my justice. I'm going to get retribution. Land tax. 1 white. Beginning of your upkeep, if the opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for 3 basic land cards, show them off, put them in your hand, and then shuffle your library. Light Mind Field. Whenever one or more creatures attack, Light Mind Field deals damage to each of those creatures equal to the number of attacking creatures. So again, the Angel's Trumpet. If they attack, and Repercussion. If you have Light Mind Field, Repercussion, Angel's Trumpet. During your opponent's combat step, if they attack, they take damage. If they don't attack, at the end of the turn, they take damage. Either way, they're getting hurt. Martial Law. 2 white. Beginning of your upkeep, detain target creature an opponent controls. With no restriction on its CMC, nothing. Now, of course, if the creature has protection from white, you can't target it, but sometimes it happens. Or a hexproof or shroud. So there are ways of this not being effective, but I'm sure you can find something to lock down. Okay, his mana base. He had Academy Ruins. Tap, add 1 to your mana pool. 1 blue tap, put target artifact card from graveyard into top of your library. So this makes Mindstone better. Azorius Chancery, Boros Garrison, and Izza Boiler Works. So he has the 3... They weren't clans. What were they? Guilds. He's got the 3 guild bounce lands. So when any of these 3 come into play, you return a land you control to its owner's hand, and all 3 of them tap for 2 colors. So Boros Garrison, red-white, Chancery, blue-white, so on. He also had Clifftop Retreat. Comes into play tapped unless you have a mountain or plains. He had a command tower, oddly enough. Glacial Fortress, which is just the blue-white version of Clifftop Retreat. He has 7 islands. He's got Manamo, School at Water's Edge. So, tap it for blue, or blue tap, untap target legendary permanent. So, what I'm thinking of here, this is really for Academy Ruins, or for Bruhan himself, because none of these other creatures, Gisela is legendary, so you can tap her, but mainly it seems to be in here for the Academy Ruins, or for Ruhan, so you can attack and then he can block. Mystical Plains comes to play tapped. It's a plains, so it taps for white, or 1 white tap. Put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Activate only if you control 2 or more white permanents. So if somebody's going to exile something from your graveyard, you can put it back on the bottom of the library, or if you just want to try and get something back, you can put it on the bottom and try to shuffle your deck with some shuffling effect. But he doesn't have that many. This is something else interesting. Sheldon Menery knew about Flood of Strand, at a minimum. Maybe the enemy-colored fetch lands he wasn't really using, he wasn't really playing, but I find it very curious that he does not have a Flooded Strand. He does not have that fetch land in here. That's something I want to, and I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't have at least one. Did he not want to shuffle? Did he not want to take time in searching his deck, finding the land, putting it in play, and the shuffling after? Was he doing it as some kind of time-saving technique? I don't know. He had 7 mountains. He has 6 plains, because Mystical Plains is number 7. He has a Reflecting Pool. Add a mana to your mana pool of anything one of your other lands can produce. He had a Rogue's Passage. So 4 tap, target creature cannot be blocked this turn. Ruhan, you are getting through. He had a Vivid Meadow, but not the other 2. I forget what the other 2 are called. So the Vivid lands come into play tapped, 2 charge counters. and they tap for 1 mana of the color. For example, Vivid Meadow is white. Or you could tap, remove a charge counter, add 1 mana of any color. But he only has one of them. I don't know why he didn't have the blue one or the red one. I really don't know. To me, it would make more sense to have all three. Vesuva fits the theme of the deck spot on. Comes into play. You may choose a land to play. If you do, comes to play tapped as a copy of the chosen land. I'm not sure if he didn't fall seriously ill with cancer around the time that Thespian Stage was printed. Because it seems to me Thespian Stage would be better than Vesuva. So I don't know if he was playing Vesuva intentionally, or if he just didn't have time to change the deck before he fell ill and replace Vesuva with Thespian Stage, or replace something else with it. I don't know. And that's, again, part of the thought process of me going through this deck and trying to figure it out. He did have a fucking Tundra, though. You know, he didn't have a volcanic island or a plateau, but still. Yeah, 500 euro. Well, that's about 40 euros. 550 US dollars. That's about 450 euro, I think. It's not cheap. But he did have steam vents, so he's got the Boros and the Izzet Shocklands, but he's got the Azorius dual land. For me, I'm going to replacing, when I build the deck, Tundra is going to be Hollowed Fountain. I'm thinking he only had one copy of Tundra. I don't know what other decks he had. I don't know if he didn't have a plateau, if he didn't have a volcanic island, full stop, and he was just proud that he had this one Tundra. But I'm not going to shell out the money for a Tundra to make this a perfect representation. I could take the Tundra away from Kestia, but I don't want to. She really needs it. So that's how Sheldon had his deck. And that's some of the thought processes I'm going through and trying to understand it. So I'm going to splice together a part 2, and I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so this is part 2 of my tribute to Sheldon Menery, the godfather of Commander. Man we unfortunately lost. He's no longer with us. But if you play Commander, he made a huge impact on your life if it's something that you love and you do a lot of, which I do. So in part 1, I showed you Sheldon's deck, and I tried to understand some of the card choices. Tried more, because I've been looking at it, but as I talk to you, as I explain things and talk things through with you, I get a better feel of why some things are the way they are. So this is my build, and what you're looking at, these are the cards I have on hand now. So, and along with the versions of the cards I have. So I'm going to be using, because I got the secret lair, I'm going to be using Sheldon himself as Ruhan of the Fomori. So he will command his own deck. Aura Thief I own, Boros Reckoner, Chromcho Crab, Clone, Gisela, Mischievous Queenar, Molten Primordial. I got this version of Sun Titan specifically for this deck. This is some secret lair edition. I don't know where the hell it came from. I don't know what set it was in. I just like it, so I got it. This is the Solemn Simulacrum I'll be using for the deck. Phyrexian Metamorph, because I already have one in hand. Acidic Soil. I don't have this in hand, but this is on order, waiting for you to pick it up from my LGS Tyranny Retige. This is it's supposed to be Bloomburrow, but they just, for Dragonstorm of whatever the hell the new Dragon of Tarkir set is, This is the Blasphemous Act from Bloomburrow, and they just recycled the art for the Dragons Commander decks. So that's the version I will be using. Bribery Sleep. Let's see, is there anything else here? These are the same versions that Sheldon has pretty much. What I'm going to do is open up the other secret lair that I have. I ordered 3 Sheldon Menery secret lairs. I opened one. I kept one to open later. And then the third one I have listed on MCAM for sale. So when I open it, I'm going to use his soul ring. So I will be taking that out. Here's a version of my... I got this Mind Stone years ago for the art. I think it's great, and I love the quote. Except for our own thoughts, there is nothing absolutely in our power. René Descartes, Discourse on Method. So, since I like the card, even though I don't really play Mind Stone that much, it does make it nicer to play, because I do like looking at the card. That's the Mivgat Vat I'm going to use. Again, he doesn't have the Izzet Signet, and I'm still working through, because I will not be able to play this 100% the way he had it. Specifically because of Gilded Drake being 150 euro, 150 US dollar rather, and Tundra being 550. So I will not have those. Tundra is an easy, I just put in a hollowed fountain and I go. The Gilded Drake, that's a much stickier problem because I understand why it's there. I understand the playability of it. I can't think of anything for that mana cost that fits that position in the deck. So that is kind of a problem. I know they came out with a fixed Gilded Drake that does some bullshit with energy and some extra steps. It's just, I don't want to fucking deal with it. Because nothing else in the deck makes energy. So I need to figure out what I'm going to replace Gilded Drake with. Okay, so these are the cards that I have either in hand or on order. These are the lands from his, and I haven't finished selecting my basic lands. I don't know which version of mountain or island I'm going to use. Maybe I'll just use revised. Would kind of fit the feel of the deck. Because Sheldon played for a long time. So playing with revised lands and trying to go for as many of the older cards as possible fits more the tribute that I'm trying to put together. Okay, sideboard. These are cards that I'm planning to put in instead of other cards. So, for example, what was I thinking of replacing Mirror Maid with? Copy enchantment, so I've got that. And he didn't have copy artifact. Some of these choices I set up. No, he doesn't have copy artifact. So why was I thinking of Mirror Maid? Anyway, let's look at the easy ones. So Skyclave Relic, as I explained, I'm planning to slot in instead of Darksteel Signet. And that's not the version I have. Okay, this isn't my account, so I can't change it right now. I'd have to log in, and I'll just wait on that later. And then the fetch lands, it seems like a really easy inclusion. Maybe what I'll do is initially I'll play the deck without fetch lands and see how it goes. And then later I would change them. That's what I'm thinking. The Rogan Triumph. So obviously with his illness, Ikoria came out about the time that he was in a bad way. I think he would have put this in the deck. I'm not sure what he would have chosen instead. But I plan to put a Rogan Triumph. Again, along with the fetch lands, maybe I will not put this in. Just set it aside, see how the deck runs, get a good feel of it, understand it, see how it works, and then put it in. I might do it that way. Hollowed Fountain will of course replace Tundra. These are cards that I do not have on hand. I do not own yet. But I am planning on picking them up for the deck. And that one is a problem. So, Darksteel Ingot, obviously a Skyclave Relic will replace that. I'm thinking of replacing this with Arcane Signet, although this fits the feel of the deck, the you did this to yourself theme better, since you add a mana of any color an opponent's land could produce. So these are the lands that I don't have yet for this deck. I own copies of them, but I don't have them on hand. So Clifftop Retreat, Glacial Fortress, Sacred Foundry, I need to get those. Vivid Metal, I don't even like these. I don't. And to me, so this comes into play tap with 2 charge counters. Rogan Triumph comes into play tap and it just provides your colors. So I think on a 1-for-1 basis, replacing the Vivid Meadow with the Triumph is a better idea, because the deck has no way of even sacrificing the Vivid Meadow for Sun Titan to bring back with fresh charge counters. It has no way of proliferating the charge counters. So you get the 2 charge counters and you're done. But it is pretty. If you see this in foil, oh, it's beautiful. Maybe that's why he played it. Maybe he played it just because it's pretty and he liked looking at it. It made him happy. I do that too sometimes. I play cards that are just pretty. I just like looking at them. They make me happy. That said, I would not be sad at all to see this and play on my field, because it is pretty. But as far as playability goes, the Rogan Triumph is just better. How soon am I going to have this done? So, 3, 8. They start getting expensive because I want foils. I do. I love foils. I'm not going to get this in foil. I'm not going to spend 33 euros for this. For this guy, it's not that much. He's right on the edge, but it's an Urza's Legacy card. I mean, why wouldn't I want the foil? I love old foils. So probably another 2 or 3 months before I can finish this deck, get ready to play, because like you can see from the number down here, I have 66 in the main deck. So that means I'm missing 44 cards. And I want to play it as close to his vision as... I don't want to just shove cards into it in order to crash the development cycle and get it ready to play. Because it won't be what I'm doing. It won't fulfill the goal of playing his deck and feeling some connection to a man I never met. But I have to say I appreciate what he's done and what he's done for our community. So, that said, I guess we're done. I guess that's the end of this video. I'll make another one and I'll show you the physical cards that I have on hand and talk a bit more, because I'm still thinking it over. Still going through what changes I feel like I can make. For example, Gilded Drake. I'm thinking of putting in Mark of Asylum. Mark of Asylum costs 1 and a white. You prevent all non-combat damage to creatures you control. It's not Gilded Drake. It does not trade for another creature. It does not steal one of my opponent's big creatures that's going to screw me. But it does stop repercussion from hurting me. It stops Blasphemous Act from killing my creatures. It stops Ether Flash from killing my creatures. So that said, I'm not sure if that's still in the spirit of the deck, but that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, tell me what you think.